Hey there, Zak Wolf, came up with another interesting idea for my YouTube channel. Since I've been working with digital video for a long time now, as you've seen by all my various YouTube videos, I thought that I could do a fursuit video, of course, showing off the special effects of an older video editing program from the original iMovie before Apple redesigned it in 2007. Yeah, the final version, iMovie HD, they used to have some pretty cool effects. Now, of course, I can't run it on my quad-core Mac Mini here, because running macOS Catalina, because I'll only run 64-bit applications, and iMovie HD is a 32-bit application. But so what? I can run it on this old MacBook here. And this is what I'm going to use to edit this video on. Yeah, a lot of the old effects in this didn't make it over to the current iMovie. Let's see what they used to have. First off, there is Adjust Colors. It's basically the color correction feature that you often find on video editing applications, which is useful. Like, if you're filming on an overcast day like today and everything comes out kind of drab, you can improve the saturation or the contrast or something, so that it looks better and more vibrant. Or you can just mess around with the colors and make everything look kind of weird. There's also aged film, which makes it look like, well, an old film, complete with all the hairs and dust and stuff. This is especially handy if you want a retro look. Make it look like you shot something on Super 8 film or something, but without the projector bulb burning holes in your film or anything, too. They also have black and white, a fairly basic filter. But if you combine it with the aged film effect, then you can get some pretty good results at making it look like a real old film, back when color film was still fairly expensive and harder to find. Brightness and contrast can be particularly useful if you're taping something in a darkened area like this. You can then improve the brightness and the contrast to make it look good. And then there's also Earthquake. Whoa. For several effects like these, it helps if you have good sound effects. Oh. Yeah, that was a pretty cool thing to simulate. And there's also the electricity effect, which lets you shoot off bolts of lightning like this. Or they can be used during a lightning storm. Look. Next effect. The old iMovie also had a fairy dust effect. Now, it looks more like a burning spark or something, but it is a nice little touch of pizzazz. And then there are the fast, slow, and reverse controls. The old iMovie HD6 put them with the rest of the effects instead of being a separate controls in older versions. But regardless, with this, you could speed up your videos, or slow them down, or play them backwards. Usually they would be useful in quirky comedies or something, but they may be useful in other things too. There's also Flash. This one is useful if you want to simulate camera flashes or fire alarm strobe lights or light bulbs burning out or something. There was some trouble going on. Big trouble. And big trouble needs a big guy with a big brain and big nerves to go after it. Like me, Zak Wolf, Private Nose. Yeah, the fog effect in iMovie is great for film noir stuff, especially if you add the black and white filter to it. Plus, don't I look good in this detective's trench coat? Ghost trails. Even though I'm not a ghost. They sure look cool. With lens flare, you can simulate something that filmmakers usually try to avoid when shooting in real life. But when used wisely, simulating a lens flare can make a good dramatic effect. Then you can be like J.J. Abrams. Letterbox simulates the widescreen look we all remember from the days of standard definition TVs. But if you're filming in widescreen for real, like with this video, then the widescreen letterbox effect is really unnecessary, because all it does is crop more the image. You can't see my paws here the way you would without the letterbox effect. And then there's mirror. See what I mean? This is pretty cool to do. Should have brought my Scooby-Doo mask for this. Or a Groucho Marx costume. Now, N-square is pretty neat, because then you can multiply the video image like this, or this, or this, or this, or this. I think that's a little too much. There's also rain, one of iMovie's more realistic effects. Yeah, it especially helps though if it's an overcast day, or you can just change it with the adjust colors effect. I already demonstrated the electricity effect. Then there's Sharpen, which, well, I guess it would be useful if you kind of shot something on an older camcorder and everything came out a little blurry. Otherwise, it makes everything look kind of weird. The leftover from those mini DV and analog video days, as iMovie back then was largely designed for use with tape-based camcorders, particularly the digital ones. Now, soft focus is neat. It's especially handy for flashbacks or dream sequences. Although that's starting to be a common feature now in several video editing applications. The current iMovie has a similar effect, of course. Since I'm in a dream, I wonder if... Nope, can't fly. Now, iMovie HD6, the last version of the old iMovie released in 2006, had what they call Quartz Composer effects as well, which were designed for taking advantage of the graphics processing power in Macs at the time. Now, these were pretty different from the rest of the effects in a way, but also pretty similar to the effects in the current iMovie. A lot of those effects, I think a few of them will be useful for color correction of old footage or footage that does not look satisfactory enough. But a lot of it could also be used if you're doing a retro-style music video, like all those effects crazy music videos in the 1980s. And also, with those old versions of iMovie, you could get plugins from third parties and add even more effects too, like this from G3. And there's a lot more of them too, but I'm not going to go for all of them just for this. And there you go. Like I said, iMovie HD6 will not work with modern Macs, what with it being 32-bit only, and Apple wants consumers to use the current iMovie 10. Now don't get me wrong, I like iMovie 10, and I edit most of my vlogs on it, and it works most easily with my current HD camcorder too, that Canon Vixia HFR 600. And it does have some similar effects, like fast, slow, and reverse, and aged film. But it has some different, albeit still cool effects, save for the ones similar to the Quartz Composer effects in HD6, compared to the flashier stuff the old iMovie had. But if I want to work with flashy effects like those, I just use Final Cut Pro 10, which does include similar effects like earthquake, ghost trails, and rain, along with several of those Quartz Composer effects. And it also supports third-party plugins, like iMovie used to before its 2007 redesign. Also, a big advantage Final Cut Pro 10 has with its effects is that they all use keyframes, so you can make the points when something changes in effect, like if the rain were to get stronger or an earthquake gets more severe. On iMovie HD, you can make the start and end points for the effect to fade in or out, but that was it. And the modern iMovies do not have any effect customization. Plus, Final Cut Pro 10 even has background rendering, like iMovie HD had, compared to the current iMovies doing everything instantaneously in real time. Also, sorry that a few of the effects didn't work right, like all the Quartz Composer effects, but that's because iMovie HD was largely met with working from footage from DV-based tape camcorders like this. And I generally shoot my videos on that AVC HD camcorder I mentioned that records into the MPEG-4 format on memory cards. Plus, DV camcorders like these require a FireWire connection, which the MacBook I'm editing this on does not have. But my Mac Mini does. On the new Macs, you could just use a FireWire to Thunderbolt adapter. But anyways, I thought this made for an interesting fursuit vlog of sorts. And now it's time for me to start getting ready for Anthro New England 2020 at the end of this week.